Greetings, sending all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary, and shout out to all of my early risers. Welcome to a fresh, brand new day. This early day, I invite you to come along with me to take advantage of these quiet early hours for some contemplation and some things to consider. And today, we're going to be touching in on, and I'll be sharing my experience on the only time that I gain weight, right? And we're going to be making some distinctions about weight because there's muscle weight, there's water weight, uh, there's bloat, there's emotional weight. There's all different types of weight, and usually we lump them all together and we make ourselves feel bad. And it can be very ineffective at reaching the goals that we have in sight for ourselves. So if you're interested in this kind of content, feel free to stay tuned. I am Body Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer, nutrition coach, natural born woman, mother. On this channel, I love to share inspiration and motivation for three very grounding practices that all of us actually have access to and that we can activate. Three simple practices that we can have with us to accompany us into our more seasoned years. So, those three lifestyle practices are peaceful consumption, garden therapy, and a personal movement practice. So, what peaceful consumption looks like for me, you'll have to find your own sweet spot, is a consumption pattern focused around whole, fresh, living, unprocessed foods. That's fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, legumes, sprouts, fresh ground herbs, and fresh spices, right? A lot of it, I make the effort to really try to pull from my yard and plant as much as I can in my yard. So that also brings us into our practice of garden therapy. Everyone can grow something, even if you're in a small space, even if it's something beautiful to feast your eyes on and commune with the plant, and also even if it's some herbs to add to your food. That's an excellent gateway. Your personal movement practice. I invite you to make your personal movement practice, whether that's walking, dance party. Hopefully, it is balanced and it contains some form of cardio for your heart, flexibility for your body and your mind, and then also strength training because that is the tone muscles that most of us are looking for, and it's also strength to build mental resilience. So, this is what I love to share on this channel. Definitely encouragement to start your garden. So, feel free if you find value here to like so that you can see more content like this. You may want to hit the notification bell so you know whenever I post new videos or go live. You're welcome to share this video with someone that you think might benefit. And even perhaps a good way to make use of the time on the internet is to perhaps replay these videos when you're decluttering, cutting up produce and vegetables and fruits, and also as you're stretching on your exercise mats. Greetings, Rhonda. So that's a wonderful way to make use of this channel. If you need to reach out to me after these videos, you can feel free to contact me at info@body-culinary.com. Resources that are available to you are a guide that I've put together with lots of questions about living whole, fresh living, unprocessed foods as a lifestyle, not a diet, with lots of pictures of what I've been doing all these years. You can find that on body-culinary.com, as well as if you're someone that's dealt perhaps with a lot of acne. Maybe that's something that you're experiencing now. That's something that I've experienced a lot. So there's a guide I put together called Natural Beauty, No Products, because I actually cleared my skin with food and my personal movement practice, right? There's also definitely some resources I put together, and I'm not one to tell folks what to do. However, hopefully folks are paying attention. I've put certain resources together for very specific purposes, and I encourage you to take advantage of them. One is called Emergency Preparedness and food preservation, right? If you're living this lifestyle, to make sure you have stores of food, not just for convenience, also knowing what is in your food and food sovereignty, right? Having access to food. There's also healthy eating for men. I understand there are all different types of men that will peruse the channel floating around the internet. So rather than merely just looking into a face you may find attractive or you may like the tone of voice, you can get even more value out of your time on the internet. So those are offerings that are very, very specific around getting into action around what we say we value, and health is a priority. We're not going anywhere fast if we don't have our health. And now is the time. Yesterday was the time. However, today is the perfect time to start making those deposits, hefty deposits, into paying yourself first into the 401k of your body. What do you need your body to do for you the next 10, 20, 30 years? What do you need it to do? And how do you need it to perform pain free? Right. So those resources, I implore you to take advantage of those resources. There's a lot there. Also, there will be other offerings and trainings that will be held on a private platform, such as a 3-day, 3 and 7-day nutritional reset. So if you're interested in doing a complete overhaul, and there will be ongoing coaching. So reach out for all those things over on bodyculinary.com. Okay, so that being said, what I wanted to touch on today, and here's my quickie style of the day, right? So on this channel, I'm into the practice of radical self-acceptance. I have very, very fine, delicate, some people say 4C. I just call it fine Afro textured hair. I call it Afro locks, and I also call it freedom hair, because the last thing on my mind when I'm in the garden doing my movement practice, I have things to do, is my hair. So it has been very freeing to embrace what it is I have and stop trying to force it to look something like something else, and find styles that are very comfortable, that are complementary to me, that are not ripping my hair out of my scalp, that are not extremely uncomfortable. That is something where I can start to appreciate and continually appreciate the divine features that I have been divinely assigned at birth. So I wanted to talk today about the only time that I gain weight, right? And although I may not be 300 or 100 or 50 pounds overweight, I come from a history and a family pattern of morbid obesity, rampant diabetes, high blood pressure, food addiction, which is really food, self-soothing, and medication. We don't need to make ourselves bad or wrong. Greetings, Mindful Nicole. These, sometimes I don't like to come on because I'm not interested in preaching to folks, and I'm not here to tell grown adults what to do. I've been in personal training and nutritional coaching for decades, and there are certain patterns that I've seen, patterns of resistance, of us not wanting to be, or not for different reasons, not fully present or accountable, or sometimes just lacking a comprehension about why it is that we have the results that we have. And so I'm not interested in being a martyr. I'm not here to tell you that I'm your healer, because your body knows how to heal itself. If we're not getting the results that we desire without even going into the labels, and when I say results, measurable ways that you can measure and compare and contrast vitality, right? Your elimination, your body odor, performance. Is your body able to perform? Some of us have just, with all the myriad of information overload, like, this is just the way it is. I'm going to gain weight because I'm a mom, right? Here in my coaching over the years, I like to make distinctions, right? Distinctions, I like to say, make a tremendous difference. So we can stop assuming or following celebrities and trainers. Once, as a trainer for many years, I was like, I'm just going to put a book out there about what your trainer will never tell you. The things I've discovered doing fitness competitions. I know that I've always wanted to not have to diet. I was very concerned as a young girl that the legacy before me, my trajectory would be just become morbidly obese, like the rest of many of the women in my family, or with a lot of the different diseases. I would look at pictures of the women young and fine and go, wonder, how did they go from this to that? So my eyes were peeled as a little girl to see, like, what happened? Is that going to happen to me too? So I'm here to tell you, I'm going to make it simple, as I tell many of my clients, especially, I'll be honest with you, when I get some Afro folks in front of me, because many times culturally, we love and we celebrate our voluptuous and our curvy body types. And that's great, right? And we like to say that black doesn't crack. However, black does crack from the inside, and we're very fashionable. We got lots of flavor, and we're saucy in the mouth. We crack from the inside. We do, from lack of care or lack of accountability, and not being educated, not prioritizing, especially when we go to other countries. We will even glorify ill health, right? That's not to take away from our curvy body types and really loving. And I've been in other countries and places where I'm at now, people like a bigger body type. That's okay. You can, you can have intimate relations with a bigger body type. I'm talking about health. And when you are in your quiet moments by yourself, you can know whether or not you are at a healthful weight. And let me also say, I feel very pleased to see more women celebrating themselves and not waiting until you're skinny or that you have to change something to love yourself. And love is a verb, right? We have a lot of folks pandering to our emotions, right? Loving, accepting yourself and your sensuality now. When you love yourself, you will care for yourself, right? That's why it's bigger than makeup. That's one form of expression. However, in your quiet moments only you can discern if we're using makeup perhaps more than just expression. It is a cover up to not deal and not address our ill health. There's also a lot of information. It's conflicting information, but there's enough information now for us to know intuitively that we are carrying unhealthful weight. And for example, where does this show up? It is showing up in how the Afro populations, many populations of the human species, have been affected by this particular situation, so and so demic that's going on. So I am absolutely amazed when I see people walking around just guzzling Coca-Cola at this point. Even before this whole situation, it's been known for years, destroys the teeth. The soda, whether it's diet or not, even the artificial sweetness. I can definitely tell you as a fitness competitor, we did lots of Splenda and Sweet and Low. This stuff affects the brain. The information is here. The information is here now, right? We're busy following a lot of celebrities that might have 2 and 3 trainers and personal chefs. You can't see how they're living. You can't see if they're doing drugs, fitness competitors, even your personal trainers. You can't see people binging and purging because if you have so-called perfect looking or muscular bodies, you can't see all this stuff. Many of us don't want to see it. Many of us don't want to see it. So I may not be everybody's cup of tea. Sometimes I don't want to speak on certain things. However, I feel called to speak on certain things. And I'm not coming, especially at this point in my life, right? A lot of hard earned wisdom. I'm not coming from the space of judgment. And I do think judgment is good. Context is everything. Judgment in the sense of common sense, listening to your intuition, which many of us haven't cultivated. We have been groomed to not listen to ourselves, to the common sense intelligence that dwells within us. We were all born with it, just one woman's perspective. You do not need a preacher, imam, psychologist. You don't need all these professionals to tell you about your divine, innate, intuitive intelligence. You don't need a middleman. You really don't. And they can't do the work for you. You can be triggered into different emotional states, but that's not going to take away the work that we need to do. We've been kind of duped into thinking that you can just pray all day and you'll just get a fresh, brand new body in the afterlife, and you don't have to be accountable for what you do with this one. That's a lie. That's BS. That's BS. For me to eat all of that health junk and fruit juice sweetened Oreos and fruit juice sweetened lollipops and all the vegan meats, and granted, you remove a lot of cholesterol. But I knew years ago, I think intuitively, and I confirmed it through seeking education for years. Sometimes I mourned the loss of certain foods, but I knew from reading casein. What's casein? Oh, it's still the a substance from the animal's stomach to make the cheese gooey. Over the years, I had to sit and use my common sense. So I got clear that bringing the pizza, popcorn, hot dog, cheesy fry mentality and putting a vegan, vegetarian label on it, it's the same thing. And folks, companies have no problem pandering to you. We don't want to hear it because the food is, we use it to soothe ourselves. It's a pacifier. I'm not here to make anyone bad or wrong, not you and not myself, because it's ineffective. So I wanted to just touch on why, and let's see if I can make it simple. As someone that's been very, very cut up, that's transformed my body several times, that is interested in longevity and vitality and being pain free. The only time that I gain weight is when I am stressed, right? And when I allow stress, it's not just the stress is coming at me, because there's a lot of stress coming at me, is when I'm not managing stress, when I don't have an outlet. When I started going to this mentality of I don't have enough time. We all have the same amount of time. And eventually we're going to pay either upfront or we're going to pay on the back end. So when I start to do this thing, I don't have time to move. Now, fortunately, I've uh, created movement into the patterns of my day, right? Going up and down the hill, the bicycle, with food and produce on the handlebars, moving in the garden. However, for specific results, I know the difference, first psychologically and physiologically, that I get when I'm very intentional about a personal movement practice. Plus, it makes me feel amazing when I don't move on a regular basis, when I am engaged in toxic relating in relationships of any kind of familial or work relationships, if I don't take a step back and prioritize communication skills, setting healthy boundaries, toxic relating is when I gain weight. When I'm not aware of the portion. So I know from educating myself over the years, I have an awareness of how much is too much. And still also I know, even with healthy foods, how much is too much. When I'm eating in front of the screen, right? And I'm not being accountable, because I can tell you right now, two of the classes that I hold, Common Sense Nutrition, Cutting the Guesswork, and Effective, Efficient Fitness, keeping yourself injury free, and how much is enough, how much is too little, am I doing enough, when do I need to make changes to my fitness or my movement practice routine. So when I am not moving enough, when my portions are too big of particular foods, there is a difference between, and there's also a difference between the quality of foods, right? Between your unprocessed fats and your whole fresh fats, the quality of food, if it's been devitalized from lots of processing, if I am not aware of the amounts, if the food hasn't been, for example, with nuts and seeds, if they haven't been sprouted, right? All these different foods, the way that we are consuming the foods, they will behave differently in your body. Oil that is fried will behave totally different in your body than fresh whole coconut. They are not the same. So the quality and the integrity is huge distinction. The integrity of the food is going to make a big difference. I've seen the difference. I've experienced the difference consistently in my skin. I'm someone that's had loads of acne and hyperpigmentation, and it was extremely embarrassing, or that's the way I felt. Um, it felt like I was out of integrity, which was an internal judgment. It just was uncomfortable. However, I also had to reckon with all the stuff that I had put greetings into my body. It had to come out, So back to the weight gain. The only time I'm gaining weight is when I'm not being accountable. I don't have an outlet. When I'm not consistent. This is when I will put on unhealthful weight. That's not muscle weight. If I'm eating loads of salt, even if it's sea salt, Celtic salt, Himalayan salt, these are the times where I will, quote unquote, gain weight. And a lot of our habits and our self-soothing, we do them on automatic pilot. So we're not cognizant of, if I'm having extra sodium every single day, numerous times a day, that adds up to a tremendous amount of water retention. If we're not moving on a regular basis, that lymphatic system is not getting pumped. So that means you've got waste hanging around on the body. It's more than likely we will store waste and cellulite. It just is what it is. So I'm not here to upset people, to be a party pooper, but I'm going to share what I'm called to share, because I'm called to share it. How can I make aloe vera concoction for my locks? Maybe I'll do another video. However, if you look at, there's a recent video on this channel with me making nopales. And aside from trimming the with the no polish, you scrape it, and with the aloe, you're shaving off of the spiny sides and then scooping it out. But perhaps I'll make a video. There are lots of aloe vera videos online. So I find with the aloe, I'll either use aloe or no polish. You want to make sure that you're not making it too thick, because when it dries, it can leave lots of speckles inside of your hair. It will look like dandruff, right? And everything gets caught in this hair, especially if you're not putting any oil or anything in it. You're welcome, Cosmic Chlorophyll. So shout out to Rhonda Cooper and Mindful Nicole and Cosmic Chlorophyll. So I really wanted to touch on that because it's a concern of many of us, whether you're a mom, whether you may be in a phase of life when many women are going through seeing menopausal and premenopausal symptoms earlier. Many people do not talk about menopause. Many of us are trying desperately all kinds of pills and powders to see results in our body. It's not, in just one woman's perspective, I've done every protein powder, vegan and non-vegan, on the market, all the supplements as a former fitness competitor. It's not real food. A lot of it is highly processed. You can't see if it's been irradiated. If it's just so devitalized, the integrity of the food is not there. Maybe there might be a few supplements, but most of them, they're not good quality. Even we're getting these things out of the discount stores. A lot of them are so devitalized and synthetic. We keep trying to outsmart the body. You know, I observed this with my grandma with the diet soda. You know, first she used to drink a lot of soda, and her doctor back in the days recommended diet soda. And I watched my grandmother become bigger and bigger. You know, her feet were bursting open from diabetes. So, you know, I would wonder, is that going to be me? And also the pattern of self-soothing with food. Many of us, when we're little children, we want to go outside and play. We're not preoccupied with food. However, usually through trauma, also the pattern, we've watched it with women and the people in our families. At some point, something happens to us and we mimic behavior, and we pick up these different behaviors. Some point it starts with penny candies, potato chips, the different substances we're given at Halloween, and we're allowed to just go for broke. At least when I was coming up, my great grandmother, she used to make us after Easter, after we ate all that chocolate, we would get a herbal or some kind of concoction as a washout. But at this particular point in time, if we look at the amounts just around me right now, the amounts of child obesity, small children, is astounding. We're passing our habits on to our children. I've seen dads take their daughters out, and that's great when you're bonding, but just take them to a fast food restaurant and let them, it's a gorge session. So at this particular time, if we are allowing, it's not just what people are doing to us. If we continue to allow this, then you can look through society at what we're getting. We're choosing to not be accountable. We've been groomed to not be accountable, to put it in somebody else's hands, my way, not my way, but your way. There's no accountability there. Then we don't have to deal with the discomfort. We're not encouraged to deal with the withdrawal. There's not many people give you a high five on different vices. Not many people give you a high five to go walk, you know, at 5 o'clock in the morning and to get uncomfortable. You know, we're not going to spend anything for this amount of time. We're going to take that money and use it for some land or for a garden or to travel. You don't really get a high five. And the amount of distraction is at a fever pitch on these screens. If you were to put a screensaver or one of these things I have on several of my screens to see how much time you're on the screens, it's astounding. Are you coming away with skills that you are applying on a regular basis? This is not making ourselves bad or wrong. However, in your quiet moments, only you can assess. Only you can assess and be honest with yourself. So because we're not honest with ourselves is one of the reasons why, you know, we're sucked into these screens, because it's distraction, and a lot is going on right in front of our faces. It's right underneath our nose and in front of our faces. You're not going to be encouraged to be accountable. You're going to be pandered to, and you're encouraged to do more vices. It actually weakens us. I would say it weakens our resolve. It compromises our motor skills. It compromises sharp decision making. We're passing these patterns on our children or watching us. We're attracted to the drama and the fear. There's a reason why we're attracted to it, and the companies know why. So it's certain things may not be our fault, but it is our responsibility. So I just wanted to just share this early day. The only time that I'm gaining additional or unhealthful weight, this is not about shaming other people, myself, ourselves, but if I'm just honest, and also not just honest, but also cultivating an awareness. Awareness is key. Many of us are not present. And we make it so woo 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 spirituality, quote unquote. It's awareness. It's accountability. We're so much into we getting readings and all this other stuff. We're not focusing on personal development and accountability. And so this is one of the reasons why I encourage 3 practices that will usually require you to get into action: your garden therapy, your personal movement practice, and peaceful consumption. And that should be showing up. That should be showing up on our body temples. It should be showing up. It should be something that you can measure. You can measure so you can see where to tweak and where to reassess and where to add more or less of an activity, right? If I'm doing toxic relating, I'm eating in front of the screens, if I have no awareness of my portions, if I'm in denial or just don't have an awareness as I'm watching my waistline get bigger and bigger, if you don't have any way to measure or to gauge, see, you're going to be encouraged. Oh, you know, your what you're eating has nothing to do with your skin. I say otherwise. I've experienced it. I've seen people with no butt develop a glute. They still have their genetics, but I've watched people. I've seen people that were very massively obese take the whole show at a fitness competition. So you'll always get people to tell you that you can't do this or you can't do that, right? You'll always get conflict of interest studies to pander something to you. So only we can take full accountability and be honest with ourselves. And if we're not willing to be honest with ourselves, then maybe it's just like I'm okay with being unhealthful overweight, which in our subconsciously we're really not, right? Medicating yourself and beating yourself up is only going to make you feel worse, and it's only going to make you binge or self-medicate in whatever form even more. So the toxic relating, if we continue to relate in toxic relationships or toxic relating, that says that that's something that we are comfortable with, and we're not willing to take a risk to go explore something different because we're so attached. If we're remaining in something that's giving us pain or undesirable results, only we can take accountability for that. So this early day, I just wanted to touch in on, when do I gain weight? When I'm not accountable, when I'm not eating enough greens and vegetables and some of those bitter foods, when that's not the mainstay of my consumption, of peaceful consumption. I've never seen anyone gain or become an unhealthful weight on whole, fresh fruits and vegetables. Never, ever, ever, ever. I have never seen a protein deficiency in the United States of America unless you are getting uh, a lack of calories overall. Maybe if in the country we're just not getting access to food. Never seen a protein deficiency, but you'll be sold. You'll be sold all of this stuff, and many of us want people to pander to us, right? Because it's more drama filled, and it's easier. It's easier to look at other people's lives and to fantasize with a munching on popcorn, to really look at our own gut and our own homes and see, wow, there's something I need to do, because we get comfortable. And we're creatures, quite often, we can be creatures of habit. So if you're going to be a creature of habit, if you're going to be triggered, you might as well trigger yourself with something positive, like your movement practice. And it's a good incentive to be mindful and very intentional about what you are ingesting on these screens, right? So I invite you to get into action around what you say you value. Feel free to come in and join on a 3 and 7 day nutritional reset if you're looking to do a complete overhaul and upgrade, which is focused on not pills and powders, whole, fresh, living, unprocessed foods. You can label it whatever you want to label it, but it's unprocessed. We make I can offer plenty of substitutions that are still real food, not processed and cooked to death. If there's any processing, you do it yourself. However, the focus is on whole, fresh, living foods, and there are levels to it, and that's fine. We definitely want to cultivate a lot of awareness so that we can be present around the quality of what we are ingesting and the instructions that we're giving to ourselves. So check us out over at body-culinary.com. You can check me out on, uh, let's say, Instagram and Facebook as Body Culinary, and on TikTok, Kwasa with a K, peaceful like full belly eating. Again, do avail yourself of that guide, Whole Living Foods in the Hood, with menus to fit your budget. It will answer a lot of your questions on living whole, fresh living foods as a lifestyle. So, inviting you all to create a great day on purpose. Just because you said so, feel free to like, comment respectfully, and subscribe. See you soon.